What's up, everyone? Welcome to Barstool Breakdown, episode 41. We appreciate all you subscribers out there. If you are not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button for us. If you did not watch episode 40, go check it out. It's the Chicago Breakdown. Jonathan killed it with the edit of The Office and everything else that we saw there. It was a great trip. It's an awesome video. Check it out. This week, we kind of bring it back to the old Barstool Breakdown where we interview someone behind the scenes. As she says a million times, she's not on the yak, even though she is quite a bit. It's Stephanie. Let's get it. How we doing, Steph?
I'm doing great. Thank you all for having me.
Yeah, I guess we should. We'll save you a little bit on that. Yeah, it's great to have you on. But yeah, your performance with Dizzy Bet will definitely be brought up a little bit later in the show. But I'm not sure if you're familiar with our game here, Steph. All we really do is Steph okay, or is it Stephanie?
Steph is perfect. I call myself Steph, as you can see. That's what I put down there.
Okay. Yep, I do. Yep, I see it now. Yeah. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with the game or not. We get into the past and all that stuff. And my first question, always in every interview, is what got you into Barstool? I see that in your past, you were into video production, sports production. I think maybe I read you have 2 degrees. Or is it just?
I have 4 degrees.
4. Okay, shit. I'm selling you short. So with 4 degrees, all that is obviously there's an interesting past that leads into that. So what got you into Barstool, and what led to you being behind the scenes on the yak and giving us moments like Dizzy Bet?
I was not a stoolie when I applied for this job. You can probably count on one hand the few of us who were not huge fans when we submitted our resumes to our respective positions. I very much, when I graduated from grad school, was looking for something that would bring me closer to home, closer to family. My family's from Chicago. So I was sent this job application to work on the tech team in the new Chicago office from a friend of my then partner, I should say.
Sure.
They sent that to my partner, and then they were like, Steph's perfect for this. She's got all of the experience. She's been freelancing in sports TV. She's been working in sports TV for so long. Basically what I do is, if you're familiar with the TV world, I engineer. Basically, that's what all 5 of us do. We're engineers. We're making sure everything works and is up to date and with all of the software and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I was sent that by a friend who is a stoolie. And that's how I found this. And then I quickly became a stoolie, I would say, or a huge fan of all of the people that I work with day to day. So that is in the short.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, well, I feel like you're kind of selling yourself short there, because I'm pretty sure I read you were an executive producer, right, of a few things. And it takes a lot to be able to step up to the sticks. When TJ's late for mostly sports and Stephanie comes in and saves the day, or when you got to, step up and flip the cameras around. We saw that the other day with Lucas struggling to do it. He runs Jerry After Dark and flips those cameras all the time, but then he steps into TJ's role and tries to do it a little bit. He's like, okay, this will take a second. So you have that experience. Does it come from just like that background in production? Like, were you in the truck basically when you were doing it? Was what, Patriot League, right?
Yes, I was 25 years old, and I was running an entire broadcast department through a school, one of the Patriot League schools. I worked at Loyola, Maryland, specifically. I was there when Pat Spencer was a senior in lacrosse. So if you know lacrosse, you know Pat Spencer. You should know Pat Spencer, I'll say. And if you're actually a fan of basketball, you might also know Pat Spencer. I was there for his senior year. That was my first year. So yes, I ran I EP'd basically everything from the school side of it. And most people are not familiar with this, and this is a fun fact I drop from time to time, but a lot of the college games that you watch on ESPN Plus, or even sometimes on CBS Sports Network, or even if you happen to watch like a West Coast Conference game on Stadium, those are all done by the schools themselves. Not like ESPN sending out a group to go cover Pat Spencer playing Army. That would have been in 2019 or something like that. They don't usually take over for mid-major sports or mid-major schools until you get to like the very last round or the championship game of the basketball tournament is really usually when like CBS Sports Network will come in and do the game. But every other game, and there's a lot of college basketball games during the season, those are all done by the school. So that was my job, that I handled all of those. So yes, I would say that the equipment that we use on the Yak is the exact same equipment I used when I was at Loyola. So I am very used to just like finding the buttons. It looks like a huge keyboard with just lights and buttons everywhere, which is, got to admit,
it looks more
pressing.
Intimidating than an airplane. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. When we saw it, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, and TJ always tweets out the pictures of like, I'm at the Yak or Mostly Sports episode number 201, or tomorrow I think it's 202, and like he shows you like his view of the show. So I'm used to the equipment and the software that we have in the Yak room, less so in the Mostly Sports room, but that's the same equipment in the Mostly Sports room that Lucas uses for Jerry After Dark. So that's why he's like, he can cross those two shows Lucas can very easily. And he's still learning and practicing, obviously practicing in real time, of course, which adds a little extra pressure when he's doing it on the Yak.
Yeah, right. He's got a weird background coming from. He didn't have the production background. He was serving tables, so now he's really got a
editing. He's a whiz in Premiere.
Yeah, we've seen Jerry edits for sure. Maybe not a whiz at first, but he's definitely gotten better.
So real quick, I apologize on the intro there. My son walked down the stairs to tell me that he peed the bed, so that's why I was just tripping over every word there.
Oh, no.
Because it was terrible. I had so much more written down, and I was just like, So anyway, sorry about that. But I have to ask, since we're talking about schools, you have Syracuse in your Twitter bio and stuff. Did you go get a degree from there as well?
My 2 bachelor's degrees are from Syracuse, and then my 2 master's degrees are from UMass.
Gotcha. Well, my grandpa won the 1939 national championship in football at Syracuse, so
nice.
Still got Syracuse at heart. That's a big school in our family, so it's awesome.
Yeah.
How much do you miss Jake Marsh?
I miss him a lot every day. We'll sit down and just like talk Syracuse sports, or we would when he was in the office all the time, and especially that was big during like the ACC tournament. We would like pass each other in the hallways. He was getting ready to tape a PMT or an interview, and would be like, "What are our chances? Like, what do you think?"
Yeah, no, I guess you'll be seeing a lot of them because in your background, you played lacrosse, you're a fan of lacrosse, and now Jake's on the sidelines for lacrosse. Have you ever thought about I don't know, like reaching out to Dukes, getting in the beer garden once or twice? Like, who knows?
I have not. I did meet Dukes. I don't talk to a lot of the New York people often, and that is not because our paths just do not cross. I'll talk to Dukes if we have to do a pick central, if like Marty and Big Ev and Smitty. And who Clem obviously came to visit Chicago the last couple weeks ago.
For the dozen, yeah.
So we did a pick central. So I was talking to Dukes. I was like, yo, what do you need? What are the ads for this episode? Because he has a lot more access to that sort of information than I do or any of us do in the Chicago office, especially for pick central.
When those Lax Bros come in, though, you had the PLO guys. You had all of them in recently on the Yak. Are you like fanboying a little bit or fangirling a little bit every time they come in?
Oh yeah, I was standing in the corner going, "Oh my God, they're here!" Yeah, I had to like. Obviously, I know Paul from when I worked at the magazine. He was very close with both the now CEO. His title just changed multiple times, of the magazine that I worked at when I first graduated. So I knew Paul from that, and then Mikey graduated and started playing pro.
Do you have a church clock going on?
Yeah, we have a grandfather clock.
Grandfather clock for sure.
It's 10 o'clock in Chicago, if anyone's wondering.
That was Home Alone.
No, I love it. I'm sorry to interrupt. I had to make it a point. I was like, "What? I'm hearing it ding." I feel like it's time for Sunday Mass.
There's another one in a further room on this level. It's going to be way behind me, though. So hopefully a little bit quieter. It's definitely not right next to me. But it'll also tell you that it's 10 o'clock in a few minutes.
Okay, I want to be. That was a little behind.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. I love it. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Okay. So and then Mikey graduated, and I had already left the magazine by the time Mikey graduated from Princeton. So, and then he went to Duke. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Do you ever? The reason I ask is like maybe like reach out to Dukes because you ran a recap show. You used to just cover women's lacrosse. It like I think you had every title in the book for that show. It was like produced, written, whatever, the whole shebang. So is there any aspirations to get back from behind the desk and talk a little lacrosse or I don't know, like what are the goals there?
I have not been on air. This is the most on air I've been since my unfortunate dizzy bat experience. Or I mean, infamously, we'll give it infamous dizzy bat experience. Usually I'm not, even for that show, I was behind the scenes. So we had an IL Women editor and one of our event staff members who played at Temple, and then Hallie played at Syracuse. So they were our talent, and I did literally everything else. And I did everything for the men's preview show that we did on Thursdays, Fridays, something like that. So we had, I was doing multiple shows. I was doing graphics, B-roll. I got very good at making whole graphical videos using just Photoshop, which is not a tactic that I would offer up as an option to usual people, but it was just what I had when I was working with it. I would definitely now, if I could go back and redo that, I'm very proud of one of the video graphic pieces that I made, but I would definitely do that in After Effects now if I would go back and redo that one.
For sure.
What was your major? I meant to ask that before as well.
I was a double major, and that's why I have 2 degrees. I have a broadcast journalism degree, obviously from Newhouse. So that's Jake Marsh has a similar one. I think he has the same one, actually. And then I also have a second major and a second degree in sport management.
Huh. Oh, nice. That's what I originally majored in, was sports business management, and then just dropped the sports because there was too much law that I had to take. So
we only had to take one class, and it was like, I don't know.
That sounds like too much already. Just one class.
Yeah, I was at a private school that like they required at least 2 law classes. It was too much. Let's put it that way. And accounting and all that stuff. I had to take 3 accountings instead of 2. I was like, I mean, I love sports, but I think I could still get into it with that if I just have business management instead of sports business management. So I just,
Oh yeah, the whole field of sports management as an option in college is very new. Like sports have been going on for a long time, and professional organized sports. And I love talking about the history of professional organized sports, but in a nutshell, most business people have done it. And if you look at like how the trajectory of even like today, how general managers and some owners come into sports, or even just like marketing people on like on a sports team side or a league side, or even if you're a sponsor but you work in sports a lot, like think Olympics, like this is their Super Bowl. Obviously, this is like what they live for. Most of those people, I would say, were like just business marketing, and a handful will be, some of your younger people will be sports management majors, but the majority will be just like regular business people, which is a great way to think of it too.
Yeah, it seems like honestly, it kind of seems like I guess especially at Barstool, because who knows like what people majored at who are at Barstool. Big Cat was a real estate agent before this all took off, so I guess that doesn't really matter. But my marketing degree might play eventually. If I ever get it. Anyways, back to your college experience. There's one more thing you did in college, and this was brought up on the Yak before, and it's popularized by a very good book series, and the movies are all right. Harry Potter, Quidditch, all that fun stuff. So what's the deal there? The Quidditch is a real sport, and you played it.
Very much so. Yes to both of those. It is a very real sport. You think it's dangerous in the movies, and they kind of depict how dangerous it can be in the movies. It is probably rougher, I would say, in real life, because I mean, everything all of the volleyball you're playing with is slightly deflated, so that shouldn't hurt as bad. But and the dodgeballs don't get you either. But what really gets you is the fact that people are flat out tackling you, and that's totally legal. It's like rugby with dodgeball plus a little bit of basketball. And you're going up against like it's a mixed gender sport, so you're playing usually like
what
3 and 4
at the same time.
You can tackle anybody. Oh yeah.
Oh.
I don't know anything about Harry Potter at all, and I still don't even understand what Quidditch was. So you explaining that right now was so perfect because it was like almost like I was just like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah,
And I kind of
I'm
think I
confused
get it
too.
now, but don't they fly on the brooms in the movie?
Well, that would be the magic part of it. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I honestly I just didn't know, and obviously that can't happen. So I was just
No, I still
confused
don't
there.
get
But
it, Frankie. I'm with you. I don't get it. Explain it to Dan. So ball drops. What ball drops? Do the dodgeballs drop? Does the volleyball drop? Where the hell's the snitch or where's that? How's that come in play? Also, are you on a broom?
You're on depends on the tournament or the game that you're playing or in the rules of that tournament. So sometimes it's a lot like travel baseball or my background, I played travel softball a lot growing up. So you get to every weekend leading up to your tournament, like on Monday or Tuesday, your team parent or your head coach will send out the rules to the whole team. Like, this tournament is specifically following this set of rules. And it's all softball, but they're all slightly different.
Wood bat,
And so that's similar to like Quidditch. The tournament will be like, we are providing the brooms that you have to use. And sometimes it'll be like full on brooms, or sometimes it'll be like PVC pipe almost kind of, but like protected at the ends, obviously, because you don't really want to impale anybody. Or sometimes it'll be like you have to bring your own brooms, and so like the team will have brooms that you can use too.
You can hit people with them.
Not with the brooms, but they're bigger than you. So you think of like your body and your personal space, and then you just added like an extra plane to it.
And you're talking about tackling though.
Oh yeah.
That's the impaling part.
Yeah.
Wait, so you got one hand on the broom at all times.
Yeah, pretty much.
And what if you fall off the broom? What if I'm like, fuck this broom, I'm gonna take this guy out, boom, drop the broom. Drop the boom. Like maybe a little Quidditch. Yeah, a little Quidditch slang right there. Is that how it goes?
It is called, well, it's similar to it's similar to in the movies when they like fall off the brooms. In theory, in the movies, in the wizarding world, right, with the magic, they fall off their brooms and the body falls to the ground, like all the way down to the ground, no matter how high up they were, and the broom kind of stays where they were. They've modified that for those of us who can't do magic, which is 100% of us.
Yeah.
So you have to take your broom with you, but you're kind of like holding it next to you instead of holding it in between your legs. You're holding it next to you, and you run back to the set of 3 hoops, and that's the basketball imagery, except they're much bigger. They're like hula hoop sized.
Okay.
You run back to the 3 hula hoops that your team is defending, tag in, and then you're back on your broom. And then you can go run around.
Back between the legs.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I get the main volleyball is that's the ball. So what are the dodgeballs? Where are those coming?
Dodgeballs too.
The dodgeballs constitute our bludgers. And so instead of hitting them with a bat, because they don't fly either, and they're also not as easy to control with a bat, you're kind of throwing them like a dodgeball. Each team has 2 people that can hold on to the dodgeballs, and there's 3 dodgeballs for the whole field. So you're fighting to keep control of 2 dodgeballs, and then there's usually like a floating third.
This sounds very complicated, but I want to play it. How has this not been on the act?
I know. I'm like, we're not getting off this yet. Like, we're not getting off this because
I'm doing a terrible job of explaining.
No, this is perfect. No, I'm actually because I'm getting it.
Also, is there a snitch? Have we got to that yet?
No, wait. I still need to know what are the dodgeballs for though? Can I hit somebody and then they're out, or is it just
so you throw it at people? There's strategy in that too, because you want to keep 2 on your side, because then you have power and you can protect your people versus the other team that only has 1, and they're trying to get the second one back, so they have the power, they can protect their people.
This makes sense. Yeah.
So you throw it. The rule was when I played, you have to have let go of the ball completely. Like, you can't just like hold the ball and tap people. Almost, you can't be like little bunny foo-foo. You can't go walking people as you're riding the forest. You got to let go of it in order to tag them out. And that's also them falling off their broom. So they have to go back and tag
to
back
the
in.
3 rings. Yeah.
I don't like this as
Yeah.
much because I thought you were just literally just ripping people with a dodgeball. It's
Oh,
more
you
like
can
you're
do
kind
that
of just
too.
tapping
I
them
saw-
and then trying to
If
get it back.
you're
But that's
confident
the
enough,
smart play.
if
Is
you're
like just
confident
tap
enough,
it and get it.
yes, right,
Right.
exactly. That's the strategy part of it. But if you're
Got it.
confident in your throwing abilities and the other team's like not paying attention, or they're worried about if they're worried about their seeker and the snitch play, etc., then you could chuck it full field if you wanted
Gotcha.
to.
My
Yeah.
team would hate me.
Yeah.
I mean,
so I was
I
thinking-
got him. I got him this time.
Failing.
I was
Don't worry
thinking I
about it.
just
Ah,
absolutely
shit.
just
Never
whiz
mind.
one just.
That's on me, guys. That's on me. I didn't expect to take off like that. Yeah, every time. Okay, now there's a snitch in the play. So snitches get stitches. How does this snitch work out? Like that's all I know about snitches, really.
This is like with the ball coming out of his ass or whatever. This
No,
guy.
the
Yeah,
little
the
golden one
doc.
that Harry. I think one of them like sucks it down or something. Like he eats it.
Yes, in the movies, yeah.
What?
He trips.
Yeah.
He doesn't understand he's supposed to catch it with his hand, so he's on his broom. He's standing on his broom, almost like it's a wakeboard or a surfboard. And
Yeah.
it tips forward at the same time that he's lunging for the snitch in the movies, and he catches it with. Yeah, he basically swallows it because he misjudges distance.
Oh,
Yeah, and then he's
I
like
thought you meant
laying
on
there.
purpose.
Everyone's like, "Oh no, did he get it?"
Where
And it
is
comes
it?
out of his
Yeah,
mouth.
exactly.
Yeah, got it. Okay, so how's that work with you? Have you ever got a snitch like that?
No, I haven't.
Oh, well, yeah, this must be the magic. Okay, but explain the snitch. I don't understand the snitch in your game, in the actual game, apparently.
In this side, in the non-magic side of the game, the snitch is in a sock that's attached via Velcro to the back of somebody's shorts.
Okay.
And I got also, just like in the movies, you've got a seeker on each side who's attempting to rip that. I think it's a tennis ball. It's tennis ball size. I think it might be a little softer, a little squishier than a tennis ball. Trying to rip that tennis ball plus sock off of the Velcro from the shorts, like dislodge it. Just like in the movies, just like in the books, doing that successfully ends the game, gets your team 150 points. It's not 150, might be 50, just 50. But it ends the game for sure, and that's like
I feel
a big
like
part of it.
okay, is the guy that's like wearing that? So he's neutral then. He's just
Oh,
a
yeah.
neutral person.
Mhm.
And is he fast? Did they appoint a fast guy there? Because I feel like if that's not Tyreek Hill, then I'm calling bullshit if he gets caught. Because like you got to work to get that snitch. You know what I mean? Like I've seen Mincy dive and take down Climmer with a flag behind him. I feel like I could do that.
It's a mix of, well, yes, they are neutral first and foremost, but they are also trying to stay alive as long as possible. So I would say it's a mix of Tyreek Hill, and I said that on the Yak when KB did this, that KB was going to be good because he was a former wrestler, and so yeah, you need to know those evasive techniques and moves as well in order to make both sides miss. And I've also mentioned this before, but part of the strategy, of course, is making sure that your team is in a good enough spot to end the game. Yeah. So sometimes the seekers aren't both going for the snitch. One is trying to keep the other one from going, either because they're so far behind and they just want the game to end and just like everyone's tired, or it's a really close game and they're going back and forth. And one team is trying to make sure that they get a large enough lead so that finally ending the game makes sense for everybody. So
okay. Yeah, so going after that, actually, I guess I get it now, because if you just go after the snitch, then the other team could just keep scoring.
Yeah,
and that would, because you're kind of just out of the play, then doing something else.
Yeah, again, my team would hate me. I'd be whipping dodgeballs and chasing the snitch the whole time. I couldn't be coaching that. There's no way.
And that's part of it too. So when if the game first starts, the snitch is allowed to go within a predetermined. Again, this is all based on the tournament. The softball, baseball, little league rules, right? Every tournament is different. Right. They go around at the very beginning of the first day and they tell all the snitches, this is the area that you're allowed to run around in during like the 8 to 10 minutes, I think. Again, it depends on the tournament, but the 8 to 10 minutes that it's like free roaming, like you can go woo anywhere, but it's usually like woo anywhere within like this huge box. And right. If you're at like a huge soccer field complex, it's going to be like all 6 of those fields or whatever. Like you can run around all of this. If I haven't really done anything smaller than that, so that would be like.
So you guys can't. I was gonna say you guys have to play this when you go to Brandon's Lake, like just play it in the yard, but that'd be too small.
I mean, yeah, I think they could. I don't know. I'm most
I
likely
gotta
not
see some
going.
Quidditch. I'm gonna go YouTube Quidditch after tonight and see what the hell this is all about.
Yeah.
It
You'll
sounds like
find
so.
like a bunch of Texas Longhorns highlights. They've been when I was in school, they were like far and away the best team, most physical, best practice, most often practiced, et cetera, et cetera. Best team chemistry, like all of it. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Just to think that that's like it seems like a game that it seems kind of like lacrosse where like the smart schools would be really good at it because you really have to like know the rules and understand like
There's a lot going on.
when to do things. Yeah, I feel like that's like I said before, I'm like, oh, so you don't do this because of this. And I'm like, wait, maybe I don't even know what I'm talking about. So I feel like is that true? Is like are the Ivy League schools good at it? Like
Well, she's in Texas.
I did, yeah.
Well,
UT
I mean
was always really good. It was started at Middlebury, which is in the Northeast, and Emerson College in downtown Boston was really good.
Huh. I don't know. It sounds like the sport of the future almost. Is it Quidditch or lacrosse?
Dippin' Dots of sports.
Yeah. There you go.
It's been around for so long.
True, it has.
Yeah,
You're right.
Dippin' Dots is like huge in the Barstool world right now. Like they're just talking
okay.
about them all the time. So bringing that up was awesome.
They're always at baseball games. It gets crazy.
Quidditch isn't the only athletic thing you did. Like, so it was lacrosse, Quidditch, and then you run a lot still?
I do.
I think you're a runner.
Yeah. Just did a half marathon, and I would say I'm in retirement right now, but really I should be retired.
You and Mincy in a 5K. Who wins?
Honestly, we're the same speed.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, shout out Mincy for keeping up. I thought you said you dust him. You don't think you could beat him? Talk a little shit. Come on.
No, Mincy and I are the same speed. I'm not even kidding.
Wow. Okay. Good for him.
Like talks about like his. Oh goodness, there was that whole thing with the treadmill, which is not a treadmill, by the way. It's a walking treadmill. It's supposed to be like a walking desk treadmill, I'm pretty sure, which is why it doesn't go as fast as Mincy wanted it to go. But he was like, "Oh, well, I needed to go like faster than 6 miles an hour, which I think was the max." And I was like, "Oh, that's my max right now. I can go faster if I'm sprinting, but no.
What
10 to 12 minute miles is where I'm at."
I've never understood running. Like, what do you get from that? Like, I don't know. Like, every time I run, like, I get like I feel good. It's like, man, I did it. But it's like the next day, I'm like, I don't want to do that again. I just did that. Like, there's no way I'm doing that again right now.
Though I would say I do not run 2 days in a row. I used to. I would run like a Wednesday, Thursday, or a Monday, Tuesday, but I would not do like 5 or 6 days in a row. That's just that is too much. And I would also feel the exact same way as you, Jonathan.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of positives to mixing up workouts, and running was usually just one of the workouts one of 2 or 3 workouts that I would just like cycle between. It was a good way to get out. When I was just graduated from college, a lot of my sorority sisters would do 5Ks around the area when I was in school, and I saw all their medals that they would hang up in the house and all of their bibs. And while nobody likes training, race day is cool as hell usually. So that they would always talk about, oh, this race was great because of the crowd, or not only did we get a beer after the race after you cross the finish line, but they gave us, I've had this happen at a half marathon, they gave us pumpkin pie because it was a fall themed half marathon. So you got a slice of pumpkin pie when you cross the finish line. So it's little things like that usually that seal the deal for you. And then you find out later there's a huge, larger like running community. And that's where I really got into it, was when I found the Thursday night fun runs in Baltimore. They're great. If you're on the East Coast, if you can get to Baltimore, find a Thursday night fun run. They're all over the city. You'll find they're huge groups. So you can find like the super speedy people. You can find the slow people like me. There's walkers, all paces, all races, distances, et cetera, et cetera. And then usually afterwards, you start and end in the same spot, and then you go and find a bar that'll give you like a free beer just because you came out on a Thursday night. And so you find people to talk to and train with, and it's honestly, training gets a lot better when you're not doing it by yourself.
So it's like the community aspect adds a lot to it too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say I've been quiet because Jonathan, you were like, "Oh, after I run, I feel like, oh, I feel good," and then, the next day it's like whatever. Like, I don't think I've ever ran and been like, "Oh, that felt great," whatever. Like, I'm usually like my knee. I mean, I've had 4 knee surgeries, but like, I'm usually like my knees are gonna explode, my quads hurt. Like, I hate this so much. Meanwhile, my uncle does like did like I don't know, like 8 or 10 triathlons, and my sister was like training to do the Philly Marathon just last year until she blew her ACL out. And I'm just like. How do you guys do this? Like you were saying, you didn't run 2 days in a row. My sister was running like I think double-digit miles like multiple days in a row. I was like, what is wrong with you people? So at least you're not like crazy like that, because that's what I originally thought because of the amount that I think on the Yak you talked about running, right? Or someone mentioned that you were a runner or something, because I feel like I knew that already.
Possibly.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes on.
There's a lot that goes on.
Hard to remember.
Cycle, the 5 of us will cycle through who's helping TJ on the Yak that day. So it's not just me. I want to make that quite clear. There's a group of us that on the tech team that'll sit in the back and cycle through day to day. So if we're running around prepping for another show later or big show later in the week, or we've got meetings or something, we might have it on, but we might not be totally listening.
Yeah.
My longest distance, my favorite distance, half marathon for sure. Never say never. All runners will say this, like, don't never say never, but I'm probably never going to do a marathon.
I'm in there with you.
I am in so much pain after 13.1. I can't imagine going, okay, I have to do this all over again.
That's insane. Yeah. No,
marathon runners are special breed. Hats off to them. Good for them.
Both different. David Goggins type of people. I don't know. I don't know how they do it. That's incredible. Like I said, I'm in there with you. I'll throw my hat in the ring. I will never run a marathon. I'll say it right now. No. Not going to happen. But
13.1 minutes and I'm dead. So I don't even know 13.1 miles. Fuck that.
Yeah. Agreed.
That's more than a mile. 13.1 minutes.
If you're running at 6 or something, then you get the mile done in 10, and then you get a little extra. No shit.
We had to run a 7-minute 30-second mile for my college baseball team, and I think my fastest time ever was like 8:26. And for the next week after that, my coach is like, "Why aren't you running fast?" I'm like, "You fucked me up trying to make me run a 7:30. I could not do that. That was way too hard. It was not something I could do." So
I would never be able to hit any time requirements. Like, isn't there like you have to do 1.5 miles in so much time to like be in an armed force branch in the U.S.?
Yeah, I was in the Navy, so it changes. It's like in the Navy, it was like you had to do 1.5 miles in 12:30. It was nothing crazy. Like 12:30, like if you were like certain ages, and obviously like it changed depending on your sex as well. But like for men 18 to like 23, you had to get it in 12:30, which was cake, and then after 23 you got a whole nother minute to do it. Like that's why, like, see all the old guys in the Navy are getting pretty fat. That's why, because they got to run 1.5 miles in like 18:30. It's like, okay, you just fucking walked. You walked out here and you walked, and you yelled at us for not running. Fucking assholes. Anyways, that the Navy's great. The reason I wanted to bring up your athletic prowess and all this stuff is because we've seen a moment not so great that Frankie mentioned in the intro. You stepped up, you got a little dizzy, and instead of freezing like Stephen Che or just immediately falling over, it was more of a spring and a flop. So how, like, in a moment like that, for someone like you who isn't on camera every day, or like has only been introduced to like really a handful of times on the Yak, to where like you've had a moment like that, what was your instant reaction? And like is it like, fuck, like I don't want to go back out there and do it again, or will there be a dizzy bat redemption?
Oh, I don't think there's going to be a dizzy bat redemption for anybody. Not just me. There is a moment, it's when you do like dizzy bat competitions, or it's part of an obstacle course, you're never usually doing it for time. You're like, all right, you got to, and this again is coming from my college days, which I am very far removed from. I also want to bring that up. I think I said it. I was like, I haven't done this in like 10 plus years, maybe like somewhere between 8 and 10 years since I've been an undergrad. But a dizzy bat piece was usually part of every single fraternity's philanthropy obstacle course event. And it was usually like somebody has to do 3 or 4
spins.
Rotations around the dizzy bat. And it's never for time. So I couldn't tell you how long 4 rotations around a bat will take you. But 15 like seconds is like 20 or something like that. So it really gets you fucked up. I would say there was a moment, I was doing pretty well until like 10 seconds. There was a moment when they started counting down, and I think I was at 12, and I was like, oh, this is going to be really bad. I instantly felt like I was on a ship, right? Like one side of me was going up while the other one was going down. So I would say because I am pretty far removed from any super competitive athletic prowess. I don't play Quidditch competitively anymore. Running is for me and only me. I'm not running. I'm not going to be beating any world records anytime soon. What else? Don't play lacrosse competitively. I've like lost that edge big time, and it definitely chilled out much more now. So once I stood up and tried to locate any sort of non-moving object, a wall, anything that I could be like, okay, look at that, stare it down, level yourself off.
You just jumped instead.
That's what I didn't get. The jump. She jumped.
I was gonna say, you said you stood up. I was like, I don't think you stood. You made a good point when you said you were unlevel, though. It seemed like you're kind of just like we're jumping to that higher level, and you were.
I was like, oh sideways. Yeah, here's the stern, here's the bridge, get me up there. Yeah. But because I've chilled out so much, I've lost that competitive edge. I definitely am looser, and I can laugh at myself much easier now. And the only thing I thought in my head was after I fell, and I was like, okay, quick mental check. Am I okay? Yes, great. This was pretty funny. My only thought was, did that look as funny as it felt? I think it looked funnier.
Yeah, it definitely did. It was a shock. It was like in my head, I was like, why did she jump? I didn't understand. She just loved it. She was so dizzy. She was like, I gotta jump. I gotta make this layup for me. I'm not going any further. I don't have the ball. Jumping is my only chance here.
I thought I just like crossed my feet and tripped myself up. I don't think I realized at the moment that I had like gone up and out.
That was
right. That's what I feel like it was a body reaction. Like it was going to be a step, and it was like just to like jump to the left instead. I think Quiggs made the that's what I was going to intro with, was like the dizzy bat that got memed to death, because I think he made like the you hitting it, and it was like to the Gwen Stefani Bananas song. It was like that. It was like right before it was like I didn't realize how loud the smack was at first. Like you said, you were like, am I good? All right, this is funny now because I'm not hurt. Because could have been bad. Stephen Che got slammed on his shoulder, and
he was on a mat. Like it was just straight floor for me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Stephen Che got slammed and came back funny. So, it helps people. It helps out people. But I mean, that's the beauty of the act. That's the beauty of Barstool in comparison to what you've done in the past. Like, the serious production roles, and now going into a production role like this, where you're jumping around, you got to make sure you're catching all the guys drinking beers or yelling, or the big cat puking in a trash can. Yeah. How does that compare to what you've done in the past?
I would say it's a lot less stress, but it's like a different kind of stress. Now it's 10:30, everybody.
There we go. Yeah, we're back. We're back to church.
I would say it's a lot less stress. It's very hard to compare. And I would say that's the great thing about working in live sports and live games, is that if you make a mistake, you have to forget it, because like in basketball or in lacrosse, even if you're working in TV for literally any sports, ice hockey, fastest sport ever, they're already them on their playing surface, they're already moving on. They have no idea what you're showing on TV. The viewers might know that you made a mistake, or you didn't show the best replay, or you didn't throw up the right the most perfect graphic to help lead you back in from break. But you don't have time to think about it, and you don't have time until like way after the game. You're like, okay, for the next game, what can I do better? I would say it's the same thing here. I love working in live events for that sole reason of like, it's going to be stressful and you're going to get kind of nervous right before you start. And then it speeds through the rest of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's in, we as fans obviously enjoyed the consumption of it, and like in my experience working in live sports is a blast. I got to cover high school and college sports over here for Buckeye Cable Sports Network. It was a blast. They just didn't pay well enough, but it is a lot of fun to really see like how what you're watching on TV or what you're watching on YouTube really comes to be, and like all the work that goes into it. And that's why we created this show, to really show some light for those people behind the scenes that are really like busting their ass to make this shit happen. And it's incredible.
Part of your interview, I was going to say too in the intro, was that we pretty much have the entire behind the scenes yak now, because we've had TJ, Che, Za, everyone's been on from there. Now we got you mentioned though that there's 5 people that rotate with you.
Mm-hmm.
So they always say, especially Big Cat, he's like, oh, Stephanie, and he like talks like you're always there. So who are these other people?
You've seen them all.
Stephen?
There was one time Doug got a shout out. Doug, of course, was on the 41 free throws team. That got sent along the huge group chat between our office and New York. I sent that out as soon as the shirt was released. I was like, Doug's on a shirt, you guys. We all have to get this. It's not very often that the tech team ends up on like a shirt to commemorate an event. So I definitely got it. And Doug has one too, of course. So Doug, Sam and I started the same day. Ryan, of course, is technically on our team. We all 4 of us report to Stefan. Stefan reports to Pete. And then on the other side in New York, there's tech guy Andrew, Stanko, of course, Steve, and Jason.
Got it. So it's you, Sam, Doug, and Stefan, or is Ryan also rotating back there?
On the yak too. Yep.
Stefan's the boss. Okay.
But I feel like you're back there the most of them all, no?
Maybe. We're running around. Now we have it down to, because we've all, obviously in September when all of us started, well, not Stefan. Stefan came from New York, so he's been with Barstool for 5.5-ish years. Coming up on year 6, I think. The other 4 of us all started around September. Ryan, of course, his big claim to fame was that he was working on the Pro Football show and the college football show, and then jumped in with Jerry. And that's our Ryan too, the same one who's working with Jerry After Dark.
Right. Pass out guy.
He's the man.
Pass out guy, ultimate vibes guy for sure.
I love him.
When we're in a meeting and we're running around setting stuff up, we're like, okay, I gotta go talk to Ryan. Like, I just need somebody to like pump me up and chill me out.
Most positive dude ever.
Yes, great guy. So Sam, Doug, and I all started at the same time within like a week of each other, I think. So we've been rotating the most, but now since we've started in September, we've kind of gotten ourselves into a rotation where like I'm always on the yak on Tuesdays so that Doug can go run all of the shows that go live from the upstairs, the second level of our floor, like mid-show live. He'll set up the bracket so that Nick and Kyle and Steven can go like run in and do the bracket with Ken Jack and the boys from New York right after the yak. And then Sam's usually coming in. Today he came in around 9:30, maybe 10, because he was our tech lead today for the Jerry After Dark stream. That's, I think, still happening.
Still going. Yeah, Travis got eliminated.
No.
Yeah, big Travis. John Anthony. Yeah, well, I had it on this side. It looks like he went 2 roses, and there was like 7 dudes. Only 2 guys got it out of those. So, and yeah, fake Trav didn't make the cut. I have a few last questions. One, pretty fucking cliche. favorite moment on, like, on the Yak, at Barstool, whatever you want to go with. What's been your favorite moment since joining the company? That is, from the outside, it kind of seemed like you didn't know much of, but you had the experience to work for.
Correct. So I don't have a large bucket of moments to pull from. I think as a viewer, as a fan, the Mincy Clemmer Pro Day is my number one. Just as like a viewer, as a fan.
Yeah.
As somebody who works for Barstool, the mini golf tournament was probably my favorite thing that I've worked on. I was running replay on that, and replay is one of the things that I'm very good at. I'm also very good at graphics. I don't despise running a replay, operating a replay machine. It just doesn't quite work with my head. My head always feels like I'm screaming when I'm running a replay machine. That I say that to everybody, but I'm very good at it. And so I was running replay for the mini golf. Thankfully, didn't miss too much. I put together 4 rollouts to end each of the streams, like the round 1, round 2, round 3 champ stream, that I'm very proud of. And I think I've saved all 4 of them. One of them, if I have to ever update my production reel, at least 1, if not 2 of them will most likely end up in there as like examples of what I could do with a replay machine.
That's awesome. Run and tape. I know exactly what you're talking about. My buddy Andrew was the one that got me into BCSN, and he was a monster at tape. Like I'd watch him do it, and like every clip, like every moment in the game that you think like was a big moment, he had it in the reel. And I was like, damn, bro, you got it all. Yeah, it's impressive stuff to run tape for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say, for you to say that it sounds like you're screaming, whatever. I don't remember, like, I see it on ESPN all the time where they literally show a replay and it's like they're still rewinding the piece because they went to the clip too early. They're still rewinding back, whatever. It was smooth as hell watching that mini golf. So I mean, if it wasn't, Nick would have been right on your ass telling everybody it was you making the mistakes back there, because he's just the best at when he's announcing those things. So
yeah. My last question, I guess, it's a combined one. It's really just about your Twitter bio, because it's a curious piece. You have your own theme song, and you're the king of short too.
Sorry,
I don't understand that you have your own theme song. What is it?
I have stolen a theme song from a really old animated Disney Channel show.
Oh yeah,
this is where I get to show my age. I'm very excited. So again, started in September, so my Barstool years haven't even hit 1 yet. I am 31 years of age, so I have seen the wild gamut of. And I've obviously worked in sports TV for a long time. So there is an old animated Disney Channel show. It was about a fly who wanted to be a rock star. And the theme song for that is up there with like Demi Lovato's Confident in terms of just power, go women, go me, let's get it, let's do it. So I have kind of like taken that one on as like my theme song, and it's by Sky Sweetnam, who is, I don't think she's an artist who's putting out new music anymore, but she was really big in like the early 2000s. And now I can't remember the name of the song.
Oh my God. You don't know the name to your own theme song?
No.
This is brutal. I was thinking this was going to be a Disney show that was called or something, or Stephanie Ann was in the song or something, where you were going to just give me something. That was a very different response. A good one, though. I do like the reasoning behind it. But now you don't know the song title.
Right? No. That was the most anticlimactic shit I've been a part of on Barstool Breakdown. I got my own theme song. It's it goes, fly to superstar, blah, blah, blah. Don't know the name. What the hell, Steph? I can't listen to it.
It's a real song. That's the problem. It's called Just the Way I Am. I had to like run through the chorus in my head.
Okay.
Then it's done. And again, Sky Sweetnam, I can't believe I pulled the artist's name out, because again, she's not like dropping music on Friday anymore.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I had to give you a little.
No, I like the fact that it's your theme song. I don't know why in my head I was like, it's got to be something that has your name in it. So just completely different than what I thought. So I like that. That's different. Like the show that you work on, which is my last question that I had here, was that you're on the Yak. I know that you do other stuff as well, but on that show, Jonathan asked you your favorite part, whatever. there's got to be times when you're just like disgusted, like whether it be by what they're saying or what they're doing. Like, has there ever been a time where you're just like, I can't even like watch them? Because like I said, when we saw The Office, like I never realized how close everything is. Like, it's like we must think that you're on there more because they see you right through that window, and then they'll just, you know, call you out because you're right there, I guess. But is there anything that ever happened that you're just like, ugh, what the fuck am I doing here right now?
Yeah, besides Kate's fart.
Oh, that was so funny. I was so proud of her.
I knew you.
Because I can't pull that out. So, like, I was very happy. Again, I'm not really on the show. I want to make that extremely clear. It was brought up in, like, I wouldn't say like my Welcome to Barstool interview, but my interviewing through the process. Like, you were going to be behind the scenes. One of the big rules is don't try to make content. Don't try to put yourself in front of cameras. Again, I'm not really on the yak. I'm just there to help when cameras go sideways, when the TriCaster breaks, which has happened more times than we would like. What else? If like a camera needs to be moved or slightly adjusted, like I'll go run out and do that. A mic needs to be put in a different spot just to get a better sound of beanbags hitting the cornhole table or whatever. Like, that's what we do. That's what I do.
Yeah, Frankie. She's not on the
which is part of the show, 1,000%. So
nope,
you could just keep
Frankie,
acting like,
not on
you know, oh, I'm not. You're a part of it. Like, people know you in the yak lore. You are a part of it now. So as much as you want to say you're not, your rotation of 5 people. Okay?
There's Reddit threads about who the girl in the booth is. I read 2 of them today. There's Reddit threads about that shit. You're on the show if you're on Reddit. That's how it goes.
And I didn't mean like on camera. I just meant, well, God, yeah, fucking Titus and Mook and Titus just got added literally like last week to the logo.
They're on the logo. They're on the logo. They're in the show.
Okay, all right.
Fair. I get what you're saying, but I just meant in general working.
Wait, no, Jeff D. Lowe's on the logo. No, you got all right. That's a miss. I said Jeff D. Lowe's on the logo. KB's joke. I was running it back. Didn't work. Never mind. Continue your question. Whatever you're saying.
You had something else, or what'd you say?
No, I asked all my questions. I mean, the queen of keyboard shortcuts, I kind of get.
Keyboard shortcuts, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of get. I mean, she's been, working a big keyboard for a while now, so I do get that.
Wait, did you ever answer just because you wanted to keep saying you weren't on the show?
Oh yeah,
when you're there,
I don't think I actually did answer your question.
When you're there, okay, when you happen to be there, just helping out. Yeah. Even though you're definitely not on the show, like I don't even remember your name again. I don't even know who I'm talking to right now.
There's gonna be a disclaimer on this
behind the scenes person.
Definitely not on the yak.
Doesn't want to be on camera. He's only there like Tuesdays only, sometimes. But when you are there, okay. First of all, you could be there once every month. That show, it's the fucking craziest show ever. There's so much insane things that happen. So, like I said, like either something that you've just been super disgusted by, or you were just like, what the hell am I doing? This job's crazy. Like, what moment, I guess, there?
One of the best moments that I think is so funny, but I'm also like, God, so glad I'm not on the show. So glad that's not me. The drafts. Oh my gosh, the drafts. I love watching all of them like put their stuff in the middle of the room and like actually think about their strategy and how they want to put all this stuff together. And then I go, so glad I don't have to like consume any of that.
Right. That's the best part about watching it is that you're like, oh, at least I don't have to do that. And that's like you said, it's funny. I can't imagine what it's like being there, because when you see all the stuff in the middle of the room, you're like, all right, I would do this. And that's probably what they're doing as well. And then it never turns out like that. Like Big Cat taking like whatever, I forget the one draft. It was like the first pick he had was like mayonnaise or something. They were just like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? It was, some of those things, man, woof. So I get you for sure.
But I don't get disgusted very easily, thankfully.
You didn't get grossed out. Well, I'm sorry. You didn't get grossed out when you saw 14 guys take a whack of the same candy from 1989?
No, I didn't. And this is probably because I worked at Disney World as a janitor for 8 months, like dropped out of school to go run down to Orlando real fast. And so you get a whole new perspective on what disgusting really is when you have to like work with poop and
Yeah,
on a
you
daily
you see
basis.
some people take a whack there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I see.
Correct.
Yeah.
Gotcha. No. No. I feel you. But yeah, it sucks. We gotta take her off the yak officially. So this whole episode, everything that Yak mentioned, we have to cut, right?
I think
We'll
so.
just beep it.
There you go. Every time we say Yak, it's just a beep. Yeah, that would be a terrible show. That would be terrible podcasting.
Now I know I was gonna say, now when I introduce this episode, I'm gonna be like, we have a very special guest. I
Where's
don't
she
really
from? Who
know. I
knows?
don't really know how to
Right.
introduce her, but she works at the company, so here she is.
Yeah.
And that's it. This way,
That
I keep
would
you
be what we
nameless
do.
and everything. We'll blur the name. People, do you want us to blur the face too, just in case?
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, what if you did like the whole thing? Like it was like I was in witness protection or
Well, that's-
something like
Yeah,
that.
I actually,
I blurred
Mr.
out
Making
Mr.
Money.
Making
I
Money.
met
Yeah.
him. Yeah, when I met him in Chicago, and I took a picture with him, and he's like, "Oh, don't post it anywhere. No one knows what I look like." And I was like, "Oh shit, that's right." So I literally blacked out his face and sent it to the group chat, and was like, "Me and Mr. Making Money." And I
Yeah.
told him, like, "You got to come on the podcast." And I was like, "I'll blur your face." So it was like,
No,
I
he's
think
in.
he might be the only one
People
getting
are
that treatment, though.
favorites.
No, he did. He did the Mincy impression post.
Yeah.
Post dozen, and I got it, and I was recording it on my camera, obviously, for the vlog. And he was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, you can't use that." I was like, "Oh fuck, what if I blur it?" He's like, "All right, yeah, you blur it." That's okay. So like that whole part of the vlog is literally just blurry screen, and it just says Mr. Making Money. But he's the man, he's a great guy.
He's
But yes,
so funny.
I
love
am
him.
introducing you. You are going to be someone who works on the yak because
Sometimes.
you do, regardless.
Sometimes, yes.
So
Only on
that's going to be
Tuesday.
what I introduce you. Oh God.
It's true.
I'm gonna
Somehow
start. I
always end up on
might start a
this.
burner, and it's like, where is Smitty at work? It's gonna be is
Steph
Steph
on
on
the
the yak, and I'm just gonna just keep doing yes or no's every day.
That's
Just
it.
to
It's
prove
stuff
you
on the
wrong.
yak. Yeah,
You should call
Just-
out who actually is on the yak that day.
yeah.
Be like, no, it wasn't Steph, but it was Doug. No, it was
Oh,
that's
to be
Ryan.
true. Well,
fair-
I feel like we
to be
never know.
fair.
That's why I always think it's you. It's hard to ever tell because they don't get called out as much.
She's never on the wheel.
Never on the wheel. Again, not on the show.
Mm.
Yeah, she's never on the wheel. That's a good point. I'd never see her ass on the wheel ever.
All right, we're gonna have to scrap this shit.
But wheel or not, we appreciate the work you've done. We appreciate the moments that you've had on the yak, and we appreciate you for coming on the Barstool Breakdown. Chop it up with a couple of stoolies. Especially not being a stoolie yourself before getting the job, which is so. We appreciate you coming to talk to us because you never know what you're gonna get with stoolies. You know what I mean? So thanks for hanging out with us, Steph. It was a blast meeting you in Chicago and convince you to come on. And it was a
I was
blast
gonna
having
say,
you
you
on
knew
our
what you
show.
were getting. We met you, and you
Yeah,
definitely thought it was going to be
I was
later
trying
because
to
you
sell
did
the
mention
point.
that to me.
I thought you were like, I thought it was gonna be like, I was like, no one wants to talk to a member of the tech team. We get a lot. If you guys aren't talking about us, that means that we've done our jobs. It means that everything has worked perfectly.
Right. Shout
So
out Rob.
Yes, exactly. So if we start getting if we start seeing a lot in the chat about like, oh, why doesn't anything work, or like, where's the audio, or like, kind of like, honestly, take that personally because that's our job, and we've kind of learned to read between the lines, or at least I have. I've learned to read between the lines, at least on like when stuff is actually broken versus when your headphones need to be changed or something like that.
Right. Yeah. I was going to say the chat's kind of a bunch of idiots sometimes. So it just all depends on what you got there. But again, appreciate you coming on. Like I said, you had mentioned you were like, oh, I didn't realize it was going to be this quick. But like, even though you don't think you are a person on the yak, you have been talked about in the chat before. You're a legend and Dizzy Bat. Like, we're just going to have you on the show and you're going to tell your story. And now you're known. That's what it is. You're not on Barstool Network, so don't worry about it. This is okay. You're allowed to come on our show. We've got the approval from.
We think so.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was not gonna be from anybody. I was just gonna say from you. And
I was
from
ready
me.
for you to like be like, oh, we got it from Pete. I'm like,
Yeah.
great.
Oh, well, yeah,
Oh, Pete. I could have said
Pete's
Pete.
fine.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say
you
Big
could've.
Cat
Pete's
because he's been so
Pete's
cool to
man.
us, but I didn't want him to just be like, "What the fuck? These guys throwing my name out there now." So I just
No,
I was gonna just say
never
Jonathan.
drop a
Honestly,
BC. Never drop a BC. But
Yeah.
yeah. Thanks again. I'll probably just cut it.